Count is the master clock module for system Moffenzeef, and it has some features that make it really special and unique as a master clock source module. A lot of people have different opinions of how a master clock module should work. Some people think it should be a utility that can derive new clocks from a main source. Other people think MIDI is really important. This one was designed to basically be a self-contained Eurorack-based clock and have everything in your patch be downstream from the count. So it's got some features that are nice and unique for that purpose, and it's all very hands-on and knobby and switchy. If you want to play with a real one, it's actually really nice to have in your system. You've got clock speed here, and we'll just plug this into the Cricut so we can hear it. You've got your master clock speed, which can go very fast, very slow. There's a range switch to change the overall speed range of the knob. And you have a fine tune adjustment here that can go plus or minus 5 milliseconds, which is really important once you get the groove going. Sometimes if you're clocking with an LFO or something, you can't quite get it to that BPM you want. There is a global pulse width knob here that goes from 5% to 50%, so you can get longer gates if you need them, and you can get really short pulses if you want to use them for, percussive stuff or whatever. Now, something that's really important about this module is how the transport works. So this start-stop switch here, you can see there's a jack labeled start, and this is the reset output for the module. So the idea is that when you turn the module on, this pulse should actually go downstream to all of your sequences that are locked to this clock and, clock divisions or whatever you need a reset pulse for. The main output is your fastest possible division, and all of these outputs here, these 4 outputs, are divisions that are derived from this clock pulse. So I know this is kind of small and silly, but these numbers, they look like they're some sort of alien language, and they're actually just really simple. It's just clock divisions. And these 2 switches are labeled top, bottom, left, and right, and it's supposed to signify which of these 4 outputs you're using on the jacks. And they're laid out in a logical progression. So when bottom and left are down, you're getting 2, 4, 6, 8 even divisions. So you can see it says 2, 4, 6, and 8. That's bottom left. When you flip it up to top, you're getting 3, 5, 7, and 9. Right? Pretty straightforward. You got even divisions, odd divisions rhythmically. And then the left and right is divide by 4. So it's just the numbers on the left side, the 2, 4, 6, 8, and the 3, 5, 7, 9. And when you flip this up, you divide them by 4. So those are really useful for if this is your 16th note pulse, these are now your bar markers for these divisions. And obviously, it also is going to help to have other clock dividers and multipliers downstream from this if you need longer phrases, like, longer resets if you have a 4-bar phrase or something like that. But all of these divisions are, for my purposes at least, the kind of most reached for and musically relative divisions that I wind up using. They're kind of like the mother divisions. Another thing that's really important here is sometimes when you have a sequence and a reset plugged into it and you're running it at a division, it'll sometimes be one step off. And that's because people have different opinions about how reset should work in Eurorack. Some manufacturers believe when a reset pulse is received, it should be one step before the sequence. Some people think it should wait on the first step for 2 beats. So as a result, sometimes when you send this reset output to all your sequences, different manufacturers have different ideas and stuff might not line up on the downbeat of your groove, which is where this beat up-down switch comes into play. So what it does is when it's in downbeat, the output is exactly as it's supposed to be. And in relation to this main pulse, when you flip upbeat, it waits. Like you hear how they're like kind of out of sync now. It waits one step. It pushes everything forward by one step. And I know that sounds strange and it sounds like it's not really musical, but you'll find yourself in that scenario quite often. And when people use hardware, usually what they wind up doing is they start and stop the sequence. And, sometimes that fixes things, sometimes it doesn't if you're using MIDI and reset and all these things. So I made it a little bit easier here with giving you a start, stop, a reset, upbeat, downbeat, and all of these divisions. That's, what I think to be the quintessential clocking mechanism you need for Eurorack.